Two retirees with identical $1 million portfolios and identical 7% average returns can end up with $400,000 difference after 20 years. And most folks never notice the hidden culprit. What I'm talking about is something called sequence of returns risk. And it's arguably the biggest threat to your retirement security that nobody's preparing for. My name is Patrick Shope, and I'm the founder of Shope and Associates. For over 2 decades, I've helped pre-retirees and retirees navigate the complexities of retirement planning. And today, I want to show you exactly why this risk is so dangerous and give you a proven 3-bucket framework that's designed to protect yourself. If you stick around, you'll understand why the conventional wisdom about average market returns can be so misleading and potentially devastating during retirement. More importantly, you'll walk away with a concrete strategy that separates your money based on when you'll need it, all designed to create multiple layers of protection for your income needs in retirement. Before we dive into the solution, let me show you exactly what we're dealing with here. Most people understand that markets go up and down. They've been taught that over time, these fluctuations average out to reasonable returns, and that's true. This thinking works perfectly during your accumulation years, but it becomes dangerous once you start taking withdrawals. Let me demonstrate with 2 hypothetical scenarios. During the accumulation phase, when you're still working and contributing to your retirement accounts, the sequence of returns doesn't matter that much. Suppose we have 3 different investors, each contributing $10,000 annually to their portfolios for 30 years. Investor A experiences great returns early and poor returns late in this period. Investor B has the opposite experience with poor returns early and great returns later. Investor C enjoys steady, consistent returns throughout. Here's what's fascinating. Despite experiencing vastly different sequence of returns, all 3 investors end up with essentially the same amount of money after 30 years. The math works out because they're not taking any withdrawals during this accumulation phase. They're simply adding to it. The order of returns becomes irrelevant when you're only adding money and never subtracting it. You see, this is why financial advisors often talk about average returns when discussing long-term investing. During your working years, that 7% or 8% average return assumption is actually pretty reliable for planning purposes. The sequence of returns doesn't matter because time smooths out that volatility. But here's where everything changes. And this is the part that catches most retirees off guard. You see, once you retire and start taking distributions from your portfolio, the sequence of returns becomes absolutely critical. Let me show you what happens to those same 3 scenarios, but now in retirement. So let's say our 3 retirees each start with $1 million and they need to withdraw $50,000 annually for their living expenses. They'll still experience the same average returns over time, but now the order matters tremendously. The retiree who experiences poor returns early in retirement faces what we call the double whammy. Not only is their portfolio declining in value due to market losses, but they're forced to sell more shares to generate the same income they need for daily living. When markets are down 20% and you still need your $50,000 for the year, you're selling shares at depressed prices. Those shares are gone forever and they can't participate in the eventual market recovery. Meanwhile, the retiree who experiences positive returns early gets the opposite effect. Their portfolio grows while they're taking distributions, creating a buffer that protects them throughout retirement. After 20 years, the retiree who experienced poor returns early might have completely depleted their portfolio, while the retiree with good early returns could still have several $100,000 remaining. Same average return, but completely different outcomes. This is sequence of returns risk in its purest form, and it's why traditional retirement planning based solely on average returns can be so misleading. The question becomes, how do you protect yourself when you can't control when market downturns will occur? The answer lies in what I call the three bucket framework. This approach separates your retirement assets based on when you'll actually need them, creating multiple layers of protection that work together to neutralize sequence of returns risk. The first bucket is your now bucket. This holds your most liquid assets for immediate needs and emergencies. We're talking about checking accounts, savings accounts, money market funds. These aren't meant to generate significant returns, but rather to provide instant access and peace of mind when you need it. The rule of thumb here is to maintain about 6 to 12 months of living expenses in this bucket. This bucket serves two crucial purposes. The first, it handles unexpected expenses without forcing you to dip into your investment accounts at potentially bad times. The second, perhaps the most important, it provides psychological comfort. Knowing you have immediate access to cash helps you stay disciplined with your longer term investment strategy, especially during market volatility. The second bucket is your soon bucket. And this is really the heart of the sequence of returns protection strategy. This bucket is designed to generate your retirement paycheck for the next 5 to 8 years through more conservative investments like bonds, CDs, maybe even some dividend paying stocks. Here's why this bucket is so powerful. It creates a time buffer, a time horizon that allows your growth investments to recover from market downturns without forcing you to sell at a loss. When markets decline, you're not panicking about how to pay your bills next month because your income is already secured through this bucket. You can literally ignore market volatility for years at a time because your immediate income needs are handled. This bucket transforms your retirement from a constant worry about market performance into a more predictable income stream. Instead of wondering whether you can afford to withdraw money during a bear market, you know exactly where your income is coming from for the foreseeable future. The third bucket is your later bucket, designed for long term growth. Because your immediate and your medium term income needs are covered by the first two buckets, this money can be invested more aggressively according to your risk tolerance. You've bought a time horizon with those first two buckets. So this bucket handles long-term goals like inflation protection, maybe legacy planning, or potentially even long-term care needs. The beauty of this system is that it gives your growth investments time to work. When markets decline, you're not forced to sell this bucket because your income needs are met elsewhere. When markets recover, this bucket benefits fully from that upswing. Over time, you'll periodically rebalance between these buckets, moving money from the growth bucket to replenish the income that you've spent out of the income bucket during favorable market conditions. This approach directly counters sequence of returns risk by ensuring you never have to sell growth investments at the worst possible times. Instead of having one blended portfolio where every withdrawal is subject to current market conditions, you have a purposeful system where each dollar has a specific job based on when you'll need it. Here's a quick example of how this might work in practice. Let's say that you retire with $1 million. You might allocate $50,000 to your now bucket for immediate liquidity. Then you might allocate $300,000 to your soon bucket to generate income for the next 6 years. And then $650,000 to your later bucket for growth. As you use up that soon bucket over time, you periodically transfer money from the later bucket to replenish it, ideally during periods when your growth investments have performed well. You see, the key insight is that this isn't just about asset allocation. It's about creating a systematic approach that removes the guesswork and emotional decision making from retirement income planning. You're no longer hoping that markets will cooperate with your withdrawal needs. Instead, you've built a framework that we believe will work regardless of market timing. Most retirees make the mistake of treating their entire portfolio as this one big bucket, withdrawing from whatever happens to be performing the best at the moment. This approach leaves them completely exposed to sequence of returns risk and turns retirement into a constant source of financial stress. The three bucket strategy transforms retirement from a financial gamble into a more predictable and manageable experience. It acknowledges that different money serves different purposes and should be invested accordingly. If you found this helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on strategies that can protect and enhance your retirement. Your engagement helps us to reach more people who can benefit from this type of planning insight. For those interested in diving deeper into retirement planning strategies like this one, be sure to sign up for our newsletter where we can share some additional insights and real world case studies. The link's in the description below. And remember, retirement planning isn't just about accumulating assets. It's about creating systems that protect and sustain your lifestyle throughout your golden years. Again, this is Patrick Shope, wishing you a stress-free and prosperous retirement. I'll see you next Thursday